And we are live for the 21st episode of the Bronx Bomber Battle podcast. I'm your host, Luigi, and tonight I'm with Andrew and I'm with G. How you boys doing?
I am doing lovely, man. How about yourself?
I'm doing pretty well. I fucking hate Sonny Gray. I'm just gonna get that out of the way right now. I'm just gonna put it out there.
And that's our podcast.
And that's the show. We'll see you guys next week. No, I'm just kidding. So the title of this episode is called Blast Sonny Gray to the Moon, and I legitimately mean that. I want him far away from my pitching rotation as possible. But yeah, a lot happened in Yankee world this weekend. Obviously, Sonny Gray continuing to be terrible, being kind of the biggest storyline. But nevertheless, Sonny could not prevent the Yankees from taking 2 of 3 north of the border, just winning another series. That's all the Yankees do. They really don't sweep a lot of teams. They just take 2 or 3, it seems like, every series. So the Yankees, they recovered from Sonny, but it was a rough one Friday. But, boys, what do you think of the Yanks in north of the border this weekend? How you enjoy the series? I did, except Friday.
Okay, I'll go.
Hey, welcome to the show, man.
Hello. What's up? Got that series win, which is important. It's hard to really predict that they're going to go on an extended run or point to any part of the schedule where they're going to go on an extended run, as long as Sonny Gray is going out there every 5 days. But they overcame that and got the Saturday and the Sunday game, in their pocket. Even they overcame not the best start by Luis Severino, but I mean, they're a better team than most of the teams they're going to face, and they got 2 wins. So, and you just move on to the next one.
Yeah, Severino, that was one of his worst starts of the year, probably. That would probably have been one of Sonny Gray's best starts of the year. Not exaggerating there either.
Yeah, Sevy was definitely laboring.
Absolutely. But Sonny Gray, we're just going to jump right into it. Friday, every time Sonny Gray just has a stinker, you say, oh, that's the worst it's going to get. Well, I think Friday might have been the worst it's going to get. It was the shortest outing of the year. He didn't even make it past 3 innings. Justin smoked 3-run home run off of him. Just his ERA is nearly 6 now. He's 5-7. He's lost his last 3 starts. And the worst part about all of this is that Aaron Boone is just he's not skipping a start in the rotation. He's our best option right now. And I get that's manager talk, but my God, you're just straight up lying to a fan base when you're saying that Sonny Gray is your best option out there. I mean, how much worse can Justice Sheffield, or not even Sheffield, because I get that they want to develop him a little bit more, but just how can any guy be worse than what Gray's been this year? He has been so awful. I said it on the last show, his quotes, he just has no confidence. He's saying, oh, well, we're the best team in baseball, except when I pitch. Why the hell are you saying that, man? You're a major league pitcher. You're a talented guy. You shouldn't be down in the dumps like that. The guy's shot. The guy is officially shot. I'm done with Sonny Gray. I hate him so much. Take it away, boys.
I think right now he's starting the next time through the rotation because it's against Baltimore, who he's beaten twice this year. And then from there, anything goes. So I guess first let's see how he does in that start. If he continues to just be a massacre, then we may never see him start again the rest of the year, barring another injury. It's been tragic, to put it lightly. It's painful every time you put on the TV. And on Friday, it went back to the old Sonny Gray where he's nibbling. He has no confidence in his stuff. He's yanking balls down in the dirt. I was actually tracking the game on the app. I was on the bus home from the city, and I noticed through the first 2 innings, I don't think he threw a single 2-strike curveball, which to me just says he doesn't have any confidence in that pitch to put guys away with. And that was a huge red flag to me.
Yeah, he just, like you said, lack of confidence. You could tell it in his quotes. But really, in a realistic frame, what are they going to do with this guy? I mean, you just try to dump him off somewhere to a crappy team? Do you shut him down for a start or 2? Because I'm a big believer. I even said we should have done this with Tanaka last year. I'm a big believer in just giving a guy a start off or a couple starts off. Just let them reset. Let them do a few bullpen sessions. Just take them out of the rotation for a bit. Not enough guys do that because to keep putting Sonny Gray out there every 4 or 5 days when you're in the middle of an AL East race and when Boston doesn't just not lose anytime the Yankees win, Boston wins. You can't afford to have Sonny Gray out there. If we lose this division by a game, 2 games, 3 games, we're just going to look at Sonny Gray and say, well, probably should have pulled the plug on this guy a little bit sooner. So, what are the Yankees going to do with Sonny Gray, like realistically, in your guys' opinion?
It's hard right now because, I mean, if Tanaka comes back, that will, take, I guess, a little bit of the pressure off of them for a little while. We're coming up fast on the deadline here. If they move him, that would obviously solve the problem. It would be hard to really predict in what scenario that would really happen because you're pretty much selling at as low the stock is going to be. But I mean, I feel bad for the guy because, he seems like a nice guy and all that, but that really, it's not why they pay him a salary. It hasn't been good really for any prolonged stretch since he got here last year. And, he was up and down. They didn't even really use him in the playoffs. And we all thought that he would, I'll give him the off season and he'll adjust and all that. And it just didn't happen. And other than this, what was it? I'm looking at it right now. There's like 3 out of 4 starts in early June. It's just been bad. And I think I saw somewhere online the last couple of days, 10 out of the Yankees, 20.
It's around 30% of their losses.
10 out of the 29 losses were in games that he started. And I mean, it's especially like you said, in a division where, they're in a division with another really good team, and you can't, at some point, it's not the beginning of the season anymore. We're halfway through the season, and you're really going to start looking forward to, the division race and what it's going to come down to. And it's at some point, it's just irresponsible to keep running the guy out there when his results are getting worse and not better. And B, it's just kind of not fair to him. His confidence is already kind of going in the crapper, but it's just not fair to him to keep going out there and just getting blasted. You have to change the situation somehow.
Absolutely.
Hey, look, I like the idea of pulling him out of the rotation and letting him throw a couple bullpens, maybe miss 1 or 2 times through the rotation. But what do you do from a roster standpoint? You have to carry him, so you're just going to short yourself 2 weeks carrying 24 men you can use. That's the trick. And then adding Tanaka he's going to start one of the double header games tomorrow, right? I believe. What do you do? I'm assuming Clint is going to get sent down, maybe. I mean,
header games are going to be CC and Sessa tomorrow. Tanaka's supposed to start Tuesday, I believe.
Sorry, right. So Tanaka's going to go Tuesday.
So maybe they
even so, what do you do with all these guys? You can't. You're gonna have to drop someone to bring Tanaka back on, and then what do you do with Sonny? If he's gonna be on the roster, he has to pitch. So the option is either phantom injury him and let him quote unquote rehab, but he's really just figuring his shit out, or you have to just bite the bullet and let him go out there and just pray for the best every time.
Yeah, the reason why I like shutting him down now would be perfect because you have the All-Star game coming up. So you really only have to miss 1 start, and then he's not scheduled to start against Cleveland. So he'd, retroactively be almost getting a couple weeks off. But it really is just such a tough situation because, like you said, you can't just have him on the roster and not have him pitch, especially with Loai Siga going down and Tanaka still not coming back till Tuesday. It's just a tough situation that this guy's put him in. I mean, we thought this was going to be the pitcher that, was going to be that number 2, number 3 guy to help us in the postseason. And man, he's not like Sonny Gray pitching in the postseason. That's like a joke right now. You're not even thinking.
Nightmare scenario.
Yeah, you just hope he gets through this season. You just hope he's not awful. But, when talking about who's going to replace Sonny Gray or what other starting pitchers the Yankees could get, a name that has been mentioned a lot is J.A. Happ. J.A. Happ, we're going to talk about this a little later, was named an all-star, which is ridiculous. But J.A. Happ, nevertheless, has been linked with a lot of Yankee rumors. Yankees have been watching. Our very own Alex Weir very much wants J.A. Happ. And he was on the mound Saturday against the Yanks, and he got absolutely pummeled. I mean, 6 walks. I mean, Gardy and Judge start off the game with back-to-back homers. 4-run first inning. He was out quick. He had probably even a worse start than Gray had Friday. Not the best audition for J.A. Happ. He was obviously going up against Sevy. We talked about Sevy. Didn't have the best start, but nevertheless got the win. His 14th win of the year, leads baseball. Yanks took this one 8-5. And, man, the Yanks were hitting like Sonny Gray was on the hill, but they needed all those runs, right? Because even with a guy like Sevy, you can't assume that he's just going to go 7 innings of shutout or 1-run ball every time. He's going to have games like that. And the Yanks offense did a great job of giving him that early cushion. But, yes, Sevy, really, you just look at it. This is how far he's come, where a start like he had on Saturday, you look at him like, man, he was not good. Still went 5 innings, still gave the Yanks, still kept the Yanks in the game, still set them up very well to win that game. Then this is why that I think Sevy was named the All-Star team, and I think he should be starting the All-Star game, man. I mean, I thought it was a crazy thought. I was like saying no way Sevy starts the All-Star game a couple weeks ago. Now I hate that person that was saying that 2 weeks ago, because he's been the best pitcher in the AL, especially with Verlander taking himself out of the All-Star game. I believe that was announced on ESPN. I think it's Sevy's All-Star game, man. He's been awesome. But
did Verlander take himself out, or did he start one of the last couple of games, or is he going to start one of the last couple of games?
When they were announcing on ESPN all the starters, they basically said that Verlander would be replaced by, I believe it was Trevor Bauer, they said. So whether he did it or Hinch did, I don't know. But Verlander, I guess, will not be starting the All-Star game. So I think that would make it between either Sevy or Kluber. And obviously, it just depends on who Hinch picks. But yeah, that game Saturday, that was a fun game Saturday. Gardy had a big game. Really, just you need to score runs sometimes for your starting pitchers, and even if it's Sevy.
I mean, I think there really is a good case to make, though, for Severino being the best pitcher in the American League, because I'm looking at his game log right now, and
consistency.
Yeah, exactly. So the only start all season where he gave up more than 3 earned runs, or I guess three runs in general, was his his third start of the season, the one in Boston, pitched like crap, and gave up 5 runs. That was literally it, and that was the only month so far. July doesn't count, but for the first 3 months of the season where he gave up double-digit earned runs in the month, So yeah, and we were all wound up about Verlander, and he was pitching to a sub-2 ERA. He had a couple bad starts recently, but Severino's literally just been basically this for the whole season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and these are a few little nuggets from Brian Hoke's recap from Saturday. That's Severino's 16th consecutive start where he's allowed 3 earned runs or less, and that was the first time all year that he's allowed more than 1 homer in a game. So just when you read stats like that about Severino, it really just puts into perspective how on point, and like I said before, how consistent he's been all throughout the season.
Yeah, what I was most impressed with in that start is that, granted, he was laboring a lot. He threw a lot of pitches early on, but that's the kind of game where 2-3 years ago, we'd see him give up 6-7 runs, and he just grinded through it. Didn't give the team the best performance, but certainly enough to win. The offense gave him plenty of cushion up front, and that's the stuff an ace does. They're going to have off days, and he still was good enough to win 9 times out of 10 pitching like that on his worst day. So that was super impressive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that Saturday game, that was also the game where we saw Hicks leave the game. In the middle of the game, I just come back to my TV and I see Clint Frazier in the outfield. I said, "Oh man!" I knew it wasn't Gardner or Judge. I knew it was Hicks that left the game, but no MRI required for Hicks. And then Chappie comes in the 9th, gets an out, and all of a sudden his left knee is bothering him. That left knee tendonitis that's been bothering him throughout the season. He was removed from the game. Neither guy played on Sunday, but neither guy required an MRI. Boone said both should be fine. So a little scary there, especially we'll talk about this a little after. Obviously, Glaber going on the DL, getting hurt against the in the series from the past week. But yeah, you just never, the injury bug was plaguing the Yankees in the beginning of the season, and it's been staying away from the clubhouse of late. But man, that Saturday game, I was definitely a bit nervous when both Hicks and Chappie went down. Two guys that have been on fire. I mean, obviously Hicks isn't an all-star, but he's had a fantastic season. He's been awesome of late. So glad that neither of those guys have serious injuries.
I think well, I mean, we talked a few minutes ago about like the roster implications and Sonny Gray and all that stuff. I think that especially since we've seen Boone, like to give guys off days and generally err on the side of caution and keeping guys fresh, like with the long term in mind. If Tanaka, if he's coming back within the next couple of days, you'll probably see Clint Frazier stick around, and especially if Sessa's pitching, then you'd probably see him get sent down, right? I mean, unless they send someone else, haven't shown any interest in going one less arm in the bullpen. But I think Clint Frazier is probably going to get some playing time the next couple of days.
Yeah, I think that'd be a safe assumption. Absolutely. Yes, and then let's finish it off with Andrew. Any other thoughts about the Saturday game, that 8-5 victory?
No, I just I'm replaying my mind right now that Brandon Drury single that Kevin Pillar played into a 2-run double, which I was listening to the radio today, and Sterling was talking about, anything in front of him, anything behind him, to his left or right, Pillar gets everything. And I was thinking, like, I kind of misplayed that one yesterday, and like you were right here and you saw it happen. But I mean, nothing else really of note from yesterday's game. Today, good bullpen performance in back of Domingo Germán, who threw up a good start. It seems like David Robertson's going to be the closer for the time being. If Chapman needs a couple of days off, which I know, at least from my perspective, I'm not the most comfortable with, just because he's had a couple rocky outings. But I love Dellin in the 8th inning. He's probably the best pitcher in their bullpen if Chapman's not available. But Dellin's just so good in the 8th. Why would you touch that?
Yeah. And let's talk about that. Obviously, I didn't put that in the show notes, but yeah, because I saw that on Twitter, and I think it was the Yes Network Twitter page that asked it. Basically, if Chapman was to miss, an extended amount of time, who would you want? Obviously, in the Yankees bullpen already, who would you want to close? And I saw a lot of people saying Betances, and to me, I said, look, no way. No offense to Betances, I remember him, trying to be a closer, then trying to put him in that closer role in 15 and 16. It just didn't work out that well. And he's been so awesome in the role he's been in currently. I mean, he's literally been the best relief pitcher in baseball over the past 6 weeks. Why change anything? Why take him out of that role? He can't pitch any better than he's already pitching. So why not just keep him in that same role?
Bingo.
I don't know, man, having D-Rob in that closer role. Like, I almost want – it's tough, man, because I want to say Green, but it's almost like, again, the same argument for Betances. I like the role Green is in right now, and then I don't trust Holder enough. So I probably would pick D-Rob by default.
The thing about Green is that he could pitch multiple innings, and he's not usually coming in 3 or 4 times a week. He'll pitch 1 or 2 spots, but he'll come in high leverage situations, and usually for an extended outing. If that's the use for him right now, he's not suddenly going to be, you need him 3 out of 4 nights to pitch the 9th inning. You're right. I say keep him where he is as well.
I'm okay with Robertson getting a chance to do that. And if only because everyone else, like you guys were saying, everyone else has been really good. And like Robertson, throw him out in the 9th and see if maybe he can, I don't know, recapture his former self or something like that. But, I mean, like, the guys like Betances, I think has thrown 17 consecutive scoreless appearances, and Chad Green, I'm pretty sure it's like 16 consecutive scoreless appearances. Like, they have no problem getting to the 9th with leads, and hopefully Chapman's only down for like a couple days. But I'd give Robertson a chance just because he's done it with good success for a period of time.
Yeah, it's easy for you to say that because you're the only co-host on this pod tonight who hasn't had their birthday nuked by David Robertson.
All right. I mean, the season's not over yet, so.
That's true.
And, well, I mean, so if he actually does that on my birthday, then it would probably be really bad, since that would be one of those late season games that
Who do they play? Who do they end the season with? Is it Tampa or Toronto at home, maybe.
I believe they end the season in
Seems
Boston
like
against the Red Sox.
Oh, geez. So yeah, that would be basically
I'll check it right
the worst
now.
possible time.
I guess we'll see how this.
Your birthday is the last game of the regular season,
Yeah,
so
they do end the season
congrats.
with a 3-game set in Fenway to end the season, and yeah, the series before is a 4-game set in Tampa.
Yeah, that's
The Yankees' last 4 series are Toronto for 3 games, Boston 3 games, Baltimore 3 games, Tampa 4 games, and then Boston 3 games.
I mean, that's pretty much how they've been going, though, is that Major League Baseball just pretty much schedules the last month of the season as all division games. Like,
yeah, well,
right.
Speaking of the bullpen, 2 names that, according to John Heyman, that were linked with the Yankees today were Zach Britton and also Brad Hand. Guys, Brad Hand named to the All-Star team. Zach Britton, we all know what he could do very well. Guys, what do you think of the Yanks possibly adding 2? Not because everyone's suggesting starters. We've all heard Hamels and Happ and Bumgarner and whoever. But what about adding, just stacking that bullpen, going Royals 15 and doing it that way? What do you guys think? I know what Andrew thinks of this.
It doesn't matter that it's Brad Hand and Zach Britton, 2 of the top lefty relievers in the league. I mean, Zach Britton hasn't played this year, but it's any lefty reliever that's a better option than Chase and Shreve. So yes, like it's not even a question. It doesn't matter who it is. Yeah, I mean, I've been outspoken on my Twitter all year that I'm a big Brad Hand guy. I do. I think it's his 3rd or 4th year. In recent memory where he's been on the All-Star team, yeah, he's been really good for an extended stretch now. And what he can offer as either a lefty spot guy or a full inning middle reliever that the Yankees lack, you add that to the mix of Green, Holder, and Betances and Robertson. Like, oh, geez, that's mega bullpen right there. That is. You could win playoff games getting 3 or 4 innings out of your starter regularly, like the entire postseason. You can go that way, and not that you want that to happen, of course. But yeah, I mean, if you add either of those 2 guys, that's unfair.
Yeah, on Hand's numbers this year, real quick: 3.05 ERA, 24 for 28 in save opportunities, 1.08 WHIP. Yeah, the guy, consistent, solid relief pitcher that could really help this bullpen. And someone asked me on Twitter. I think it was yesterday or maybe 2 days ago. It was, they asked the Bronx Bomber Ball Twitter page and said, why is Chase and Shreve still on the team? Why is he still? And I basically said the only thing I could come up with is he throws the ball with his left hand. Like he's a lefty. That's why he's still on the team. I know he's not a lefty specialist. We all know this. I'm going to curse, but that's why he's still on the team, because he throws the ball with his left hand. And man, I just can't wait to see that Yankees PR tweet that Chase and Shreve has been DFA'd into the sun. Because, yeah, Brad Hand would be a phenomenal addition to this bullpen. And truthfully, I'd rather the Yankees go after a guy like Brad Hand than 90% of the starters I hear them linked with. Like, I don't want no Michael Fulmer or J.A. Happ. Like, what are those guys going to do? Those guys probably won't even crack the top 3 or 4 of our rotation in the postseason. Those guys probably won't even be factors. There'll be a bunch of Jaime Garcias in the postseason.
Yeah, and one thing that's actually really aggravating me in our Twitter mentions the past few days, it's just so many people saying, oh, I'll take J. Happ if he comes at the cheapest, or whoever costs the Yankees the least to get. It's like, well, no. I mean, why do you want someone who you're going to get at the best value? Because then your return is probably going to be the lowest. Like, if we're going to make a trade for starter, I want it to be the best possible option to help this team go to the World Series. I don't want just, oh, well, he was the cheapest guy and he's better than Sonny Gray. But like that's a marginal improvement. We don't need that. We need like a bona fide 2 or 3. That's going to be a big impact acquisition.
Exactly. And like, look, people just love to prospect hug. And like, the sad reality is, like, look, when you have as many prospects as the Yankees have, you got to trade a few of them because they all can't fit in your system. And you got to give up something good to get something good.
Like it's mathematically impossible for them to keep all these guys. So they have the Rule 5 draft coming up this year. Like they have to trade some of them for no other reason that if they don't trade them right now or right after the season, they're going to lose them in December for nothing. Exactly. So you got to make moves.
But that's what I'm saying. Like people don't realize that. They say, "Oh no, well all these prospects are the next Jeters and Riveras." Like don't you know? just doesn't work out like that. You got to ship off those prospects sometimes, man.
And
as
also,
tough as it is.
If you look around, like, with the Yankees lineup and their setup right now, all these position playing prospects like the Fraziers, etc. Like, look around the diamond, and a lot of the Yankees, a lot of their positions could be filled by players that are already here, like long term. Like, you have Hicks and Judge and Bird maybe, and
Sanchez, Andujar,
like all around the diamond. There's guys that could be there for years and years and years. Like, outside of maybe Frazier, like, who could wiggle his way into the equation there somehow, a lot of those guys might not be a shot. And the best thing to use them for probably would be to trade for a starter. And I would love to get good value. Like, I'm not gonna, I guess, prospect hug too much. I just don't want to trade. The Yankees have one of the best farm systems in baseball. I don't want to trade a couple of these really good prospects and get back Jay Happ. He's pitched pretty good this season, but he's like a journeyman. Like, the Astros traded for Justin Verlander last year, and they won a World Series. So I would much rather go, I guess, big game hunting with that, all that currency they have. And if not, then just do exactly what they did last year, which is beef up the bullpen, go get Brad Hand and get the lefty that they can actually use, and, wait for that deal.
Agreed. Yeah, I agree, G. What you said is so true. Just to give up a good package to get Jay Happ, that's just not moving the needle for me with the Astros. That's why, I've obviously referenced this before. I just was a big Bumgarner guy, and I know that the Giants are probably not giving up Bumgarner. I get it, but that's how you have to think if you want to make an impact, because that's the type of guy that's going to make a major impact. Not Michael Fulmer, not J.A. Happ, not like the Yankees had a scout at the game for Nate Eovaldi today. And look, I know Nate Eovaldi, former Yankee great. He's been pitching really well lately. I get it. He was perfect through 6 innings today against the Mets, which isn't saying much, but nevertheless, he was perfect through 6 innings. And even then, I still don't want Nate Eovaldi. Like, why are we looking at Nathan Eovaldi? Do we really think that, like, in terms of, wow, we're really close. We're just inches away from being the favorites to win the World Series, right? Like, we're being exactly where we want to be. Nate Eovaldi is going to change that. No, he's not. He's not going to change anything. We know what Nate Eovaldi is. So I just don't get the Yankees going after all these number 3 and number 4 guys thinking it's going to make a difference. Yeah, especially, like, I'm not giving up anybody for Nate Eovaldi. Like, I hate to say it.
If the plan was to go out and get, like, a journeyman or a retread or someone like that, like, I would just as easily just bring up, like a Johnny Lasagna type, or, like a Justice Sheffield, one of those young arms, and, who's got the upside, and just let them give it a shot. Because, Nathan Eovaldi, we've seen that movie. We know how that goes. And Jay Happ, limited upside move, really. Like, is he better than Sonny Gray? Yeah, maybe. But, like, would you be all that comfortable throwing him against, the Red Sox or the Astros in an important playoff game? Probably not. Like, it might get you to the end of the season, but the Jaime Garcia move got them to the end of the season last year, and they couldn't use him in the playoffs either. So
yeah, that's a great point right there, because I saw a bunch of that on Twitter today too. People talking about the Michael Fulmers, the Cole Hamels, the Jay Happs are all better than Sonny Gray. It's like, look, this team's winning 2 out of 3 games every series right now. They're going to make the play. They don't need a marginal upgrade over Sonny Gray to get. They made it to win the division. We don't know what Boston's going to do over the next few weeks, and the Yankees' schedule in August is a joke. So if you're not going to use Sonny Gray in a high leverage playoff game, you're probably not going to use the J Happ guy who you go out to get anyway. So, like, that, what's the point of even making that acquisition if it's not going to be a guy you're going to throw into the fire in a huge playoff game? Like, if you're going to make a move for a guy who you're going to throw all your chips in the middle of the ring for.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Like, look, speaking Speaking of the Devils, the Sonny Gray trade last season, that was a good trade. I know it didn't work out, but Sonny Gray was a guy that he has a high ceiling. A guy like Jay Happ does not have a high ceiling. Like Sonny Gray finished third in Cy Young voting a year. Jay Happ, I'm pretty sure, has never finished top 5 or top 10 in Cy Young voting in a year. Like, these are the things that just make a difference where, look, even though Sonny Gray has been awful and it just hasn't worked out, there was at least a chance that he could have been a really big help for us in the postseason. Didn't work out like that, but getting guys like the guys I've listed, just they're not going to move the needle. I mean, the one guy I might be open to is Cole Hamels because I like the postseason experience. I like how he's been pretty solid over the last 5-6 years. But even then, I'm still not going to be jumping for joy if we trade for Cole Hamels. Like, the only guy I'm going to be out of my mind if we trade for is Mad Bum. That's it. That's like the only guy that moves the needle for me. Even, I'll be really happy if you get Hand, but I don't know, man. Just going up against Verlander, Cole, Sale, Jay Happ, and these guys just don't move the needle. Bottom line.
One last thing that would make me pretty nervous, I guess, not to be a prospect hugger, but just because you have the pieces doesn't mean you got to burn them in a trade. Like, these teams that have these guys, like, the Blue Jays aren't very good. The Rangers aren't very good. Like, Nathan Eovaldi, the Rays, they're all right. Like, but they're teams that are building and I mean, Michael Fulmer, the Tigers, right? I don't think they're all that great. They just lost like 12 games in a row recently. They're not good teams. They're looking to build for the long term. And you have, the Yankees, on the phone, who've got one of the best systems in baseball. I trust Brian Cashman, but I mean, I feel like these teams with these, middle of the road pitchers would come asking for like everything they could possibly get, and it's just not worth the cost, in my opinion, to get a middle of the road pitcher.
Yeah, but again, as a counterpoint there, it's a numbers game, and if you're not trading them this month, you're going to have to trade them at the end of the season when teams are locking and loading for 2019. The Yankees have like 6 new guys who are eligible for Rule 5 draft status this year. To name a few, you have Dylan Tate, Justice Sheffield, Chance Adams is one, and you have the 2 other starters in Scranton. You have Eric Swanson, Josh Rogers, and then there's a couple guys in Double A. Like, there's a ton of guys who they are either going to want to protect or they have to trade in the Cooper and Smith deals, and they got that guy Michael King, who's actually been really good in Tampa. But like, if you're going to be after the season, you're going to make trades then too. I mean, it's a numbers game, and mathematically speaking, the Yankees cannot hold on to every single one of their prospects and see how they pan out. So either you roll the dice and you get something to help you make the World Series or win the World Series this year, or you wait till the season concludes and you go all in on next season. But like, you can't carry this prospect load into next year. Like, mathematically speaking, it doesn't work.
Yeah, no, great, perfectly said, Andrew, honestly, because really you just can't hold on to all these prospects. It's impossible. But let's finish the show. We're recording this Sunday night, a couple hours after ESPN had their little All-Star announcement show. And so the Yankees that made the All-Star team, obviously we have Judge making it, who'll be starting in the outfield along with Mookie Betts and Mike Trout. Sevy, of course, makes the All-Star team along with Chappie. It's Sevy and Judge's second appearance. Obviously, they both made it last year. And Chappie's 5th appearance. And look who made it as a reserve. It's Gleyber Torres. Obviously, his first year in the bigs, gets on the All-Star team. Big accomplishment for Gleyber. And Giancarlo is part of the final fan vote, by the way. Not sure if he gets in. He might because, there's so many Yankee fans. But
who else is in the final vote?
It's Gene Segura, Andrelton Simmons, Andrew Benintendi, and Santana maybe on Minnesota, or Eddie Rosario, excuse me.
I mean, I feel like Giancarlo's, he's got to have a pretty damn good shot at making it in, right? I mean, he's got, I think, the most, name recognition.
I was about to say, I think he'll get in because of that, and there's just way more Yankee fans than any other fan base. And let's talk. I wanted to talk a little bit about this because, look, this isn't a Rays podcast at all, right? Despite being from Florida, I really don't care much for the Rays. But Blake Snell was not selected to the All-Star team. And
He's the best ERA in the American League.
Yeah, if he leads baseball in ERA. He's 12-4 in the year with a 2.09 ERA. His WHIP right around 1. I mean, he's had a fantastic season, and he doesn't make the All-Star team. And you just look at a guy like J.A. Happ, who made it over him, and it's clear why he made it, because each team has to have an all-star representative, which, first of all, I mean, not to sound all like politically correct, but I mean, that's such a participation trophy thing. Like, everybody has to have a team. Like, no, they don't. If this team doesn't have any deserving players, guess what? You suck. Get better players, have better years, and make the all-star team next year. J.A. Happ should not be an all-star with a 4.45 ERA over Blake Snell, who's leads AL and ERA. That is pathetic. That's shameful. And another thing, Bryce Harper hitting 219, starting in the outfield. Like, please, this is ridiculous. I hate fan voting. I always have. It's so stupid. Clearly, the fan bases with the most people in it are going to elect their players like they should, but it's just a stupid system. I don't get why the MLB just can't decide for themselves. Look at the inside the numbers, hire a team of unbiased people to vote for him. I just can't stand seeing a guy like Blake Snell get snubbed. That's BS.
Listen, man, if you're as heated as you are over the face of baseball, one of the faces of baseball, Bryce Harper, starting the All-Star game, I can only imagine how heated you are. Let me just clarify for all of our viewers. Luigi is a massive Buster Posey fan. And I can only imagine what's going through his head right now that he just lost out on the fan vote to Wilson Contreras, who is a good catcher for the Cubs. But the Cubs put in, I think, 3 of the 9 starters. That fan base is insane. If you guys remember a couple years ago when the Royals had like 6 starters, I can only imagine what Luigi's going through right now, having Buster miss the All-Star game.
Buster's my guy. I used to watch Buster when he was at Florida State. He was literally the best college baseball player I think I've ever seen. 400 career hitter at Florida State in 3 years. It was phenomenal. Actually came to FSU as a shortstop, and Mike Martin switched him to catcher, which is pretty unbelievable. But yeah, I mean, the fact that he just doesn't, you just look at the numbers, and there's so many examples of this each year, and it's just not fair because, a guy in the San Francisco Giants isn't going to get as many votes as a guy in the Chicago Cubs. It's not right. It really isn't.
That's a really silly rule, and it's, for me, just much more aggravating to watch like better players be left home than it would be to, I mean, it'll never happen for the Yankees, but it's much more aggravating for me to see good players left home, like Blake Snell gets the snub over Happ, and much more aggravating to see good players left home than it would be for my team to not have a representative. Like, if they don't deserve it, then they don't deserve it,
Right.
Like, the Blue Jays or even the Mets, God bless them, they're just, they're not great teams. If you don't have a good player, then you shouldn't force it, because like J. Happ going to the All-Star game with a 4.5 ERA just is silly. Like
just lay out all.
Listen, man, you just brought up the Mets as like, if they don't have a representative. Pretty sure Jacob deGrom leads the National League in WAR, so that might not have been the best example right there.
I was thinking position players, but I mean, yeah, I was talking about a bad team, a hypothetical bad team with not very many good players.
Yeah, no, I got you, G. You're absolutely right, man. If just think of it, like, put yourself, like, imagine if you're a Blue Jays fan and you're just like, all right, who makes the All-Star team for, like, J. Happ? Like, are you kidding me? Like, I bet you even Blue Jay fans are just, because obviously fans don't vote for the pitchers, they just vote for position players. I mean,
I don't watch the Blue Jays every day. Is he legitimately their most All-Star worthy player? Is that?
No, it's probably Solarte or Smoke, who hasn't been really that great. Donaldson's been hurt a bunch of the year, so he hasn't had a good year at all.
Right. So we can all.
I don't think they have anyone hitting over 270. Like they're really not a great team.
That's like some 2015 Yankees.
So their most All-Star worthy player is easily Vladimir Guerrero Jr.
Oh, geez.
Probably. But yeah, just All-Star voting is broken. There should not be fan voting because Blake Snell should be on the All-Star team. Yeah, well, if you look, here are the starting pitchers that made the All-Star team.
Rays fans can't say
Or what? Go on, G.
That we never did anything for them because we're right here, Yankee fan.
Yeah,
we're right here going to bat for their guy.
But the starting pitchers that made it to the AL All-Star team: Justin Verlander, Corey Kluber, Chris Sale, Luis Severino, Garrett Cole, Jose Barrios, Trevor Bauer, and J.A. Happ. I mean,
one of these things is not like the other.
Yeah, like you just like, wow, a lot of great pitchers, J Happ. Just, I mean, if he even gets in the game, I'm turning the game off. Like, I really hope he just, because he's got to be the least, like, no offense, he's got to be the least talented arm on that whole AL staff. Because every single guy, you look at every single guy on the AL pitching rotation, all deserving, all having great years. And then there's a guy with a 4.45 ERA. Just terrible. Really terrible. But, guys, Yankees tomorrow, Monday, it's a doubleheader, 4 o'clock and 7 against the lowly Baltimore Orioles. It's always tough to win both games, both legs of a doubleheader, but I think the Yankees could pull it off against Baltimore. That might be the team you could do it against. We got CC going in the first game and then Luis Cessa going in the second game. I never thought I would be less nervous for a Luis Cessa start than I am for a Sonny Gray start. I actually have more confidence in Luis Cessa than Sonny Gray right now. I can't believe I'm saying that, but I am. And yeah, the Yankees right now, they're two games back of the Red Sox. Red Sox still have 4 more games played than the Yankees. They literally never lose. Like, I think if you had to ask me the Red Sox record, I think they would like 78-0 because they just never lose. Every time the Yankees win, they win. It's very annoying. But yeah, it's going to be 4 games in Baltimore and then 4 games in Cleveland, and then it's the All-Star break. So
do the Red Sox have off tomorrow? Do we gain 2 of those?
They play the Rangers tomorrow. I was saying that to you earlier, how like every time a Monday comes up, because we still have 4 fewer games played than the Red Sox, I'm saying, okay, the Red Sox can't play today. We'll have a doubleheader. They won't play. Then we're only one, like we're right back where we need to be. Oh no, the Red Sox play tomorrow, and they play the Rangers, and another below average team. So.
Well, we'll get 1 game back because it's a
right
a doubleheader. But then the Yankees have how many other doubleheaders? They have one against Toronto, maybe 2. One other game that got rained out.
They made up against Washington. They're about to make up this one. I don't know, man. I lost count. So
then they had the other doubleheaders. Remember, they had 2 of the 4 games against Baltimore were rained out. So remember that I think there's another doubleheader in August as well. Remember, today was the day that the Yankees and Blue Jays were supposed to play on Sunday Night Baseball?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
It's supposed to be today.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, that would have been awful.
And one thing I'm looking at the way the pitching setup for tomorrow, I think Boone did a really good job of throwing CC out first in the first of the 2 games. You figure between him and Cessa, CC is going to be the guy to give you more length. So ideally, you get through that game with using CC and maybe 1 or 2 guys out of the bullpen. And Adam Warrens and whoever else locked and loaded for the night game if you need it. But at that point, hopefully you already have a win in the bank, so it's not the worst in the world if you lose. As opposed to if Cessa pitches the first game and you absolutely shred the bullpen, and then you're in a close game in the second of the 2, and then you risk getting swept. Oh, that would be brutal.
Yeah, and I said this on the last pod we had that Herman was going to need to go innings, and he did. Credit to him, 6 innings today or on Sunday. Set up the bullpen nicely. Bullpen pretty rested for the doubleheader. And yeah, the Yankees will be facing, I don't even know, Yaka Bonus is pitching for the Orioles in the first game and then Ramirez in the second game. So,
knock on wood, but he's really good lately. So hopefully, even what was the last time he gave them like 6 innings of whatever, 1 run or 2 runs or something like that, like another start like that, CC's not where he's going to give you like 7, 8 innings every time out, but that's totally fine. And, offense maybe score more than like 2 runs and make it a laugher. You could throw like the Adam Warrens and like maybe even Chase and Shreve for a change.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah. By the way, Jimmy Yacobonis for the Orioles, he'll be making his 2nd career start against the Yankees tomorrow.
As I say, we've definitely faced him. That's how that name sounds familiar, right?
Yeah. He's had 17 career appearances, 1 career start. So, yeah, his major league debut was against the Yankees last year. I think it was a relief appearance. He allowed 4 runs in 1 inning.
Oh, good.
Seems good.
Oh, yeah, that's not what you want, but yeah, that's all we got for today. We'll be back after the Baltimore series, and then we'll be doing a kind of mid-season show once the Yanks wrap that series up with the Indians, because we'll have a few days off for the All-Star break. And yeah, hopefully the Yankees by this time next week are in first place, headed to the All-Star break. Obviously, it's looking unlikely because Boston might never lose again. But for Luigi, G, Andrew, this was the Bronx Bar and Bow podcast. And boys, any final thoughts?
Scott Yeeters.
Yeeters, absolutely. I hate